Good morning. I'm Crystal with Whole New Perspective. I want to welcome you to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. So this month, I am making homemade mixes. And today's mix, I think you will definitely enjoy. You know, the good thing about homemade mixes is that it saves time and it saves money. So if you go back and you watch the homemade mixes that I've made, along with the folks that have participated in this hashtag Homemade Mixes 2023 challenge, you will find some great mixes. All of the mixes so far include pantry staples that most of us would have on hand. And today's mix is no exception. So everything that I'll be using is part of my pantry staples. And I do believe that most of you will have these. If you have a well-stocked pantry, you'll have these also. So let's just get into it. I'll show you what I'm using. Now, I know most of us that cook from scratch, we like to make our own potato soup mix from potatoes. But sometimes we want something quick and in a hurry. And so that is where this comes into play. And this is also something that you can take to work with you, and you can make it simply by adding water. So this recipe calls for 2 cups of instant potato flakes. You can use any type of instant potato flakes. I'll show you this. I've made my own potato flakes. Now, if I were to use this in this, I would probably put it into my Vitamix and blend it up a little more, but I'm not gonna use my own. I'm gonna use a store-bought brand. So you can use your own, or you can use a store-bought brand. So I'm just gonna use 2 cups of instant potato flakes that I purchased from the store. I know you can't see this, so I'm just going to bring you down and let you see what I'm adding. This is the 2 cups of instant potato flakes. And to this, I'm going to add 1 3/4 cup of dried milk. This is that. I'm just gonna mix this up. I do have more things to add. My bigger mixing bowls they have some other things in them right now, some other projects that I'm working on. And so I'm just gonna use this one. And they'll mix up again because I'm gonna put this in a jar, okay? So then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this chicken bouillon. Now, if you don't want to add chicken, you can add beef, you can add vegetable bouillon. If you don't have your bouillon like this and you have them in cubes, just put them in your food processor and blend them up, and they'll be just fine. So 2 tablespoons of the chicken bouillon. And I'm gonna add a teaspoon of dried onion flakes. If you have your own, that's good. If you don't have any dried onion flakes and you wanna use onion powder, or if you just prefer onion powder, you can use that, or you don't have to use any at all. You can leave it out. I'm only gonna use a small amount because I'm really the only one in my family that likes onions like this. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll use a small amount. Well, really a teaspoon isn't much anyway, so I'll go ahead and use this teaspoon. So that's that. And then I'm going to use some garlic powder. Now, if you prefer garlic flakes, you can use that as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and put garlic powder in here. Garlic powder, it's a 1/2 teaspoon. So I'll do that. And again, you can always use the garlic flakes. Gonna use some dried parsley. This is my dried parsley. I'll use a teaspoon of this. I did dry some of my own, but I haven't put it through my food processor. So I'm gonna use this. And I'll just use a teaspoon. Then I'm going to use some thyme. Again, this is great if you have your own dried thyme. I do have my own, but I'm gonna use this. I plan on growing a lot more herbs. So as you can see, a theme with most all of these mixes are herbs. So it's great if you're able to have a little garden, whether it's a patio garden, a little indoor garden, like I have back here, so that you can grow your herbs. This thyme smells really good. I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. So that's that. I'm going to add white pepper. So many of you may not have this white ground pepper, and if you don't, that's perfectly fine. Just go ahead and use the pepper that you do have. I tend to have a lot of herbs in my pantry. I like to do a lot of these mixes. I like to do a lot of cooking from scratch. And so I just keep a little bit of white pepper. I don't use it often, but for those recipes that, you know, maybe you don't want to see the pepper, and that's what this is. You don't want to necessarily see the pepper in it. You use the white. I have no problem with seeing it, but since I have the white, I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. And again, I'm gonna use 1/4 teaspoon. And that's it. That is a very simple recipe. So I'm just going to mix this up. After I mix it, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the jar. And we'll talk a little bit about things that we can add. You can add some salt to this if you'd like. A lot of the recipes will call for seasoning salt. I don't add salt to a lot of different things. I will add the salt if I need it when I make the soup. So then I'm just going to take my jar. This is a quart-size jar. If I double this, I could put this in my half-gallon jar. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in there. Making a mess here. That's pretty easy, pretty simple. And this is it. This is your homemade potato soup mix. So you can add, I'm gonna find my lid to put my lid on here. You can add so many different things to this once you make it. Get your soup mug out, a half cup of this mix, and 1 cup of water, and that is it, okay? It's just that simple. You will have a really good potato soup mix. Now, some things that you can add to that. I have some things up here. A lot of people like to add celery seed, so you can add celery seed. People like to add turmeric whenever they can, so you can add some turmeric. I like potatoes and rosemary, so you can add rosemary. I also like chives, and you all remember I dried some chives to make my ranch dressing mix. And these are those dried chives, and so you can add You can add some dried chives to it. Smells good. Or you can add your fresh chives if you'd like also. And you can also add some cheese to it. This is a dehydrated cheddar cheese, so you can also add that. So there are so many other things that you can add to your potato soup mix. Some people like to add bacon bits. You can add bacon bits. You can add any of those to your master mix, or like I do, you can add it at the very end to your liking. So that way every person can add the different things that they like. So listen, if you would like to participate, please do. All you really need to do to participate is enter hashtag homemade mixes 2023. And if you would, please tag me on that so that I would know that you have added a mix. There is still time, and you can add as many mixes as you'd like. And this would help us all to learn different ways to cook from scratch. This is a very quick mix, something that is very simple, easy, and delicious. So thank you so much for coming along with me. Please give the video the thumbs up. If you have made any type of mixes, or if you have made this mix, leave me some comments below. Let us know what you like to add into your homemade potato soup mix. Thanks again.